welcome back to Clip It. I am so excited to have my next guest on this show. He is a phenomenal trendsetter. He has really conquered so many barriers in the industry. He's behind the scenes with Tyler Perry. He has done so much work on TV and behind the scenes for different shows, ABC, Stars, and OWN for Oprah. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce to you Ralph Ochoa. Hi, Ralph. Welcome
Hello.
to Clip It.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And it's an honor to have you on Clip It. And it's very exciting to have such a person with so many achievements in the beauty industry. You have achieved so much. You used to be a salon owner. You used to do platform work, all the above. And now you're like behind the scenes with the stars. And can you just tell my audience a little bit about your journey, like how you started and where you're from?
Oh, sure. Well, I've been doing hair. Thank you. First of all, let me say thank you for having me as a guest on your show. Really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. It's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of your show. I've been doing hair for like over 30 years. I graduated high school on a Friday. I went to beauty school Monday. I've never done anything else in my life but hair. I've never held any other job. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. I worked in D.C. at several salons. I owned a salon in Maryland. And I woke up one day, I guess I was about 26 or 27 maybe, I don't even remember now. And I decided to move to Atlanta. And I moved to Atlanta and I've been here ever since. And when I first graduated beauty school, or my aspirations when I was in beauty school, people would say, well, like, what do you want to do? And, you know, because I started doing this in 1982, you know, I wanted to do like everybody else in DC. I wanted to open a chain of salons. I wanted to drive a Bentley.
Yes.
I wanted to be a platform artist. I never, ever had I wanted to do print work. So I did editorial work as well. And I never, ever wanted to, nobody ever said Hollywood or TV or film. So I never, ever wanted to be in Hollywood. And then I moved to Atlanta and worked here in Atlanta. Excuse me. Worked here in Atlanta. I opened up salons here again. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I wanted to do TV and film. And when I first moved here, they were only filming, like they had filmed a few movies here, and they were filming In the Heat of the Night back then. That was about the only thing, but I still didn't have any desire. And then my very, very best friend, Charles Gregory Ross.
And I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Yes.
But we've been friends for like forever, but we knew each other from the educational arena. He worked for Soft Sheen and I worked for Revlon. So we would see one another at the shows. We'd be like, hey, how are you? Hi, you know, whatever. And then I guess about 11 years ago, another good friend of ours, Johnny Gentry, who lives in New York, he was here visiting and we were out hanging out and he said, take me out to Charles's house. So I said, sure. I drove him out to Charles's house. And I was getting ready. I was like, okay, I'll see. He's like, you're not coming in? I said, no, I don't go into people's homes that I've not been invited to. He said, no, you got to come in. I said, I'm not coming in. I don't know. I mean, I know Charles, but he didn't invite me to his house. So he said, you better come in. Charles is going to be mad. I said, no. And literally, as I said no the third time, Charles came out of his driveway, out of his garage, and he saw us in the driveway. And he was like, hey, he said, come on in. I was like, okay. He's like, you weren't going to come in? I was like, no, I don't come. He's like, oh, I would have been so mad at you. So I went in. Now I got there, it was 12 noon. Okay. Charles had, you know, it was because I think it was the Bronner Brothers weekend. So everybody, you know, we were prepping, but Charles was having a get together at his house. So it was 12 noon, got out there. I left at 3 a.m. the next morning. Charles cooked dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We sat up, played cards. We watched videos. We laughed because there were so many of us in the beauty industry just reminiscing about different stories about, you know, remember that time we were in Chicago, remember that time we were in Europe, laughing and giggling. And he said, I'm going to get you in film and TV. I said, okay, whatever. Wow. And literally 2 months later, because I said to him, I said, whatever you need me to do, I'll hold hairpins. He said, no, when I call you, you got to come. You got to be ready, and you're not going to hold hairpins. You're going to do hair. So about 2 months later, fast forward, I get a call from Charles. And he said, it was on a Wednesday. He said, well, what are you doing tomorrow and Friday? I said, I'm at work. He said, well, I need you. I said, okay. So I canceled, because that's what you have to do. You got to be ready to go. I canceled my clients for those 2 days. And
I would have too. I would have did the same thing.
I canceled, and I went and worked on a movie with him. And that was the beginning of it. And I didn't work again with him for probably another year.
Okay.
But, because it just, he didn't have the opportunities for me. But then after that, I started working with him. And then I got, he was the one that opened the door for me to get in the union. And I've worked with him on many, 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 many projects. And then I will never forget this. He was going to do another show, and I was the second in command on, it was a Tyler Perry project. And he was saying that I'm not going to be able to come back next season. I want you to department head. I said, okay, whatever. I don't, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we were on another show, and we were on I don't remember the name of the movie, but we were doing a movie with Reese Witherspoon. And he said, did you get the call yet? I said, no. He said, well, you get this call, you better accept it. I said, well, I'm not ready. He said, you're going to be ready because you're going to take the job because you ain't going to have no job. I'm going to fire you. So you have to
I love that kind of forcefulness in friends and mentors and all of that. So, okay, go ahead.
So I got the call, and I said, they offered me the job. He said, I knew they would. I told them to hire you. You've been there. So that was my first department head job. And I'm going to say that was House of Pain season 6. And from there, I did like For Better or Worse, If Loving You Is Wrong, The Haves and the Have-Nots. I did Medea. I did Boo 1. And in those times that I was working there, Mr. Perry wasn't really, he would do the Medea movies, but at that time he wasn't doing any movies. And then one day they came to me and said, oh, I got a script, and they were like, Medea. I was like, Medea's in this? And because Mr. Perry directs, produces, and writes. So they were like, yeah, Medea's in it. So I was like, well, who's going to do Medea? And because, I know he always has personals. So they said, well, we'll let you know. I said, well, somebody need to let me know. I got to prep for it. They came back and they were like, you're going to do Medea. I was like, okay, so I'm sweating bullets, whatever, I called Charles and I said, Charles, I've got to do Mr. Perry as Medea. Now, this is when you have a true mentor and a true friend that wants you to succeed. Wow. Charles had done Mr. Perry off and on for years. He's done several movies, several productions, whatever. Yes. I said, Charles, I need to do the Medea wigs. He told me step by step where to put every single roller, and he said how to comb it out and everything. Now, I did everything he said. It came out fine, but the one thing I did not do was I didn't put enough hairspray in the hair to make it whole because I didn't know he was going to fight in the scene. So the very first take, he goes out and he starts, him and Hattie, they start fighting or something, and the wig goes all over his head, and I just wanted to melt. But I kind of put it back together the best I could because Mr. Perry's directing and all these things are going around him. So I don't have a lot of time, but I put it back together. But that was the beginning. And from there, I did the movies, but I also was able to, Mr. Perry his people would call me if I was on another project to ask me if I was available to go with him to promote, because he's going to make an appearance as Medea. So they wanted me to do the Medea wigs. So I would travel, it wasn't like I would be all over the world, but I had traveled and done like Jimmy Fallon show a couple of times. I did Taraji Henson's something Christmas or other. I did a few things with.
Oh yeah, I remember that show too. It was awesome. Yeah. And all of her hairstyles was the bomb.
Yeah, but I mean, I always do, I do Mr. Perry as Medea. So that was how that happened. But, since then, I've been going, I department head my own shows, and I've been department heading. It doesn't matter what I do. I could be the number 1 in the hair department, run the hair department, or I could be the number 87. It doesn't matter to me.
Yes.
I love what I do, so it's all good.
Amen.
That's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
It sounds awesome. I mean, You definitely had doors that was open for you that definitely took you to another level. Let me just ask you, when you were saying you were sweating bullets, like initially serving, you know, we try not to, I know as hairstylists and professionals and business owners and stuff like that, we know how to like actually hold back our anxiety, but you just moved into that whole career. Like, how did you feel? Did you feel like
Um,
my dreams is coming true, or I can't believe this? Like, you know, because you're working with so many prominent people.
yeah. I mean, I've worked with, you know, I worked with Viola Davis. I worked with Octavia Spencer. I worked with Jennifer Lopez. I worked with Tashina Arnold. You know, I can't even remember half the people that I've had the honor of working with. You know, I just did Black Lightning, so I worked with China McClain, Cress, Williams. You know, I got an opportunity to work with Bill Duke, who is a legend.
Wow.
Director, writer, producer, actor. Everyone is, I don't know what your age is, but if anybody remembers Car Wash, Mr. Duke was the black bald-headed man that in the middle of Car Wash, he was the militant black man.
You
And
did
that's
Car
how
Wash?
yeah, Car Wash. No, I didn't do Car Wash. I
Oh,
saw them in Car Wash. No, but
oh,
Mr. Duke was in Car Wash, and he was the black militant man. And I got to
okay.
work with him on Black Lightning. And I was just like, there are times, you know, because you can't really fan out, even though you want to. You can't
Right.
always fan out. So I just, you know, and it was never my dream or aspiration. I was blessed to be pushed into it.
Right.
But there were times when I was like, you know, I would kind of fan out in my own little moment, but I had a job to do and I couldn't fan out. But I remember the very first, because when you work in TV, the only editorial credit you get is if you're the department head. So
Okay.
I remember seeing my first department head on For Better or Worse. And I was like, wow, I had that moment. But then I did when you do movies, the whole department, the whole hair department is listed. So we did this movie with Reese Witherspoon, and The Good Lie. It's called The Good Lie.
Okay.
And I did this movie with Charles, and I did the movie. He was the department head, and I was the key. And we went to see the movie, and we sat there and watched my name roll up in the credits. And
Wow.
that was the moment. And then from there were like, when I've done different, it's an amazing feeling when you go, because the community is small, be it black, white, whatever. You know,
Okay.
the acting community is not that big. And I remember I was doing, I don't even remember what it was I was doing. Oh, I had done a show called Love Is for the OWN
Okay.
network. And when I was doing Love Is, one of the stars, Michelle Weaver, she was the number one, the star of the show. And so I'd done her hair for that. And then I had got called to do another show in Savannah. It was called Council of Dads. It was on NBC. It didn't make its second season, but I got called to do that. So I said, I went down there, and I wasn't the department head, I was the key, the second in command. So I was there, and as I was looking over the talent,
Right.
I saw Michelle Weaver. I was like, oh my gosh, Michelle is in this. And the department said, you know Michelle? I said, yeah, I did Love Is with her. He said, oh good, you'll do her hair. And then I looked, and the number one, her name was Sarah, and I can't remember Sarah's last name, but Sarah was in The Walking Dead. She was one of the stars of Walking Dead, but she got killed off, like I think season 3 or 4. But I didn't really do her hair, but I knew her from that. And she was the star of the show. So I said, I know Sarah. I worked with Sarah on Walking Dead. So the department said, good, you'll do her too. So when I was in the trailer and they come in, like Michelle, I was like, hey, Michelle. We had just done a show together a year ago. And then Sarah came in and I said, hey, Sarah. She says, I know you. And I said, yeah, we worked on The Walking Dead several seasons ago. And she's like, that's who you are. So that was a great feeling to know when you walk into a trailer and the star sees you, that they're like, I worked with you. Yeah, I remember you. And it was a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing when people remember you.
When they remember you, and they remember you for a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yes, yes. What an exciting career. That is like a phenomenal career, something that people always dream of, especially hairstylists. Because you know all hairstylists want to be the stylist of the stars, you know? And so you are actually a mentor for a lot of us. Um, so let me ask you, so do people actually, how did you actually move yourself from owning your salons? Did you keep them open for a while and then?
No, well, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish. I'll tell you.
No, that's fine.
Um, when I had my salon, the last salon that I had, it was a 10-chair salon, and it was I didn't ask for people to do anything. I was just like, all I need you all to do is do hair. That's all I have. You know, I don't need, you know, I got cleaning people, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I was gone for 2 days, but you know, it's a salon. As a salon owner, you know, that's your child, your spouse,
Yes.
you know, it's everything.
Yes.
So I had I used to serve wine, and I had juices and snacks and bottle, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember coming back, and I came back in the middle of the night, the first night of shooting, because we got out really, really late, and I still went down to the salon, and my salon was a mess. It was filthy.
I know it was.
So then I was like, you know, I came back, you know, I was like, I'm in the middle of the night trying to clean up stuff and whatever. And I'm mad at like my managers, I'm mad at everybody, because I'm like, this is how you all make your money. You don't care. And I know you don't care about the salon the way I do, but this is how you don't care about what your clients are saying. Like, they were out of juice. I'm like, there's one bottle of champagne in the refrigerator. I'm like, What are y'all doing? So I came back Friday, did the same thing. Saturday, I showed up at work, and I just decided, I said, you know what? I'm going to really see how this TV thing is going to work out. And I did. And I decided it's probably best that I close my salon, because it's not, I cannot, if you want to be successful at something, you have to devote all of your time to it. You know, like when I first started, I used to do makeup, and I was the makeup artist. I was the hairstylist. I was the wardrobe stylist. I did everything except take the pictures, but I knew about photography. I knew about good lighting, bad lighting, what you needed to see. So I did all of that. And when I started doing, when you do TV and film, you got to do one or the other. You got to do makeup or hair. You can't do both. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, you
See, that's something that I didn't know.
Only if you're doing commercials.
Okay, because that's something that I didn't know, because it seemed like they want you to be able to do both. No? Can you tell us, me and my audience, a little bit about Mr. Perry and how it is to work with him and work for him as well?
Sure. Mr. Perry, really, honestly and truly, you will never, ever see the magnitude or the greatness that he does until you get there. Now, I worked at it's the first studio, but it really wasn't the first studio. I worked at the one over in Southwest Atlanta, and it's the old Delta office building. He turned it into a studio.
Yes.
And I remember walking on there, and I'm thinking, wow, this is just amazing. Like, I mean, just because I could see everything that I'd seen on TV, like every set was on that show, all the sets and everything. He shot everything at the studios. But I remember being in awe of all of that. And then I can remember when I went there, and, you know, I used to wear really, really loud socks, like knee socks. And I wear soccer socks. So they would have all kind of things on them. But that was the thing that I did, because I said, you know what? They don't have to remember my name, but they'll remember the bald-headed black guy in the hair department with the loud socks. So that was my trademark. And Mr. Perry, you know, he knew, you would think that people like, oh, he doesn't know everybody, but it is his job to know. He know everybody that's on his property. So he may not remember my name, but a couple of times he's like, socks. You know, so he knew me by that. But the generosity and the compassion that Mr. Perry has for people and for everyone that's on a project of his is unbelievable. He laughs, he makes jokes, but he also works. It is a job, and he has a job to do. Right. He has to answer to the networks that he sells his projects to. But to be on a show with him, to see him at work, to watch him do what he does, and to be a part of that is amazing. I remember, now this is a story. Years ago when I was working in the salon, I got in a call from the Oprah Winfrey Network, and I had a salon. And somebody said, I was in the salon working, and it was in the front. I answered the phone in the reception area, and then I was like, they said, "Oh, this is so-and-so from the Oprah Winfrey Network. Can we pick this up?" I'm like, hold on a minute. So I put the phone on hold. So I'm walking from the front to the shampoo area, and I said, y'all, because the salon was full of people, I said, y'all, somebody on my phone playing. They said they work for the Oprah Winfrey Network. So I go back, and I pick up the phone, and I said, hello, this is Ralph. I had to change my voice. So they were like, yeah, we're calling from the Oprah Winfrey show. And we are doing a makeover segment on Mrs. Coretta Scott King. And we would like to know if you can make yourself available to do her hair and her makeup when she comes back to Atlanta for occasion, for special events or whatever. I was like, sure. And they literally, I was like, okay, yeah, okay, still. I didn't believe it. They said, okay, we just wanted to know. We'll call you back now that we have, that you said yes. So they did call me back. And I remember they were like, okay, you need to be at Mrs. King's house, say like at 6 p.m., whatever.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, this is really Miss King. So I'm in there doing her hair, and she had, this is a house, so she had a salon built in the house as well.
Right.
But I told her, I said, I'm gonna just tell you, I have to fan out for just a moment. You are Mrs. King, Yes. And I said, okay, I'm done. Let me go back to setting your hair. Now, fast forward, because I traveled with Mrs. King for up until she passed away for 3 years.
Wow.
And so she's a lovely lady. I mean, actually, there's a picture right behind me on my cabinet right here that she and I are in a picture together, and she signed it to me. I got books that she signed and given me, whatever. But so I'm at Tyler Perry Studio, and I said, Miss King, I said, I want to meet Oprah Winfrey. So we had gone to her 50th birthday party. I got that close to meeting her. I didn't meet her. We went to the Legends Ball. I got that close to meeting her, and I didn't meet her. And I've been so many places with Mrs. King. I met a lot of people. But we were at Tyler Perry Studios, and we were shooting The Have and the Have-Nots. And a good friend of mine, Derek Rutledge, the makeup artist, is her personal makeup artist. Okay, so he was doing her then, and I've known Derek. Derek and I started out together. So anyway, we were shooting.
And you still didn't get a chance to meet Oprah.
Getting there.
Okay.
So we were shooting, and Mr. Perry, because we at the studio, we have a huge makeup and hair department. It's like 8 makeup chairs and 8 hair chairs. And it had 4 entrances, 1 on each side, back to back. So Mr. Perry comes in the hair and makeup room, and he goes, no, he didn't come in. He said, oh, the staff came and said, look, y'all got to be on set. Mr. Perry needs everybody on set at such and such a time. And like nobody ever talks like that, like with that kind of urgency. It wasn't anything but just urgency. Everybody got to be on set at 8 o'clock. So we're on set, and Mr. Perry comes out, and he's like, I don't even know what the heck he was talking about. I don't even remember. And then all of a sudden he goes, oh yeah, by the way, Oprah Winfrey. Oh. And here comes Oprah Winfrey. And she's coming by, and she is talking to everybody. She's shaking everybody's hands. And I'm like, it's my turn to get to Miss Winfrey to shake her hand. And they said, okay, Miss Winfrey, you got to go there. And it was like in slow motion, like, no. So I didn't get a chance to meet her.
You didn't get a chance to shake her hand?
Nope, not that time.
Or meet her?
Still didn't meet her. But fast forward a couple more seasons later, we have what's called Actors Row. It's where all the dressing rooms are at Tyler Perry Studios for all the actors and actresses. Okay. So I'm walking in, and there's Mr. Perry standing, and he's standing with another person, and then there's this dog, little dog.
That was Oprah.
Like, okay, whatever. So I walk up, and he sees me, he goes, hey, Ralph. I said, hey, Mr. Perry, how are you? And as he said, hey, Ralph, the person turns around. It's Oprah Winfrey. And I froze in my steps. And everybody says this. I said, I've never in my life been at a loss for words. And Mr. Perry goes, what's wrong with you? I was like, nothing. He's like, I know you're not tripping. He's like, you're not afraid of me. I said, no. He's like, you're not afraid of the dog. I was like, no. It's like, Oprah Winfrey? I'm like, no. And I just literally, I ran right past them and went into the makeup and hair department. And I told everybody, I said, y'all, Oprah Winfrey's out there. And everybody started to run. I said, no, don't all go out at one time. Go like around.
Right.
I said, don't look suspicious. So Miss Winfrey comes in, she walks past me because I, whatever.
Yeah.
And she talks to every single person in the makeup and hair department. She stops and talks to all of us, shakes our hands, and has conversations. She's like, thank you so much, and da-da-da. And my second was coloring an actress's hair at the other end. And she didn't have an opportunity to really talk to Miss Winfrey. And she goes, Miss Winfrey, can I shake your hand? This lady jumped over like 3 chairs because she's like, of course. And she said, girl, I saw you. You were coloring hair. I understand about that. And she was standing right next to me. And I said, Miss Winfrey. She said, yes. I said, my name is Ralph Ochoa. I said, I used to do Mrs. King's hair. She said, what's your name? I said, my name is Ralph Ochoa. And she said, I know who you are. And that was the time I got to shake her hand. And I said, I just wanted to say thank you. And she said, we miss her, don't we? I said, yes. And that was my one time out of all them times I had been this close to meeting Oprah Winfrey. But this is all happening at Tyler Perry Studios.
I have to give Atlanta a shout out because you guys are definitely the hair capital. You guys are moving and shaking. You, all of the influencers that I'm meeting from Atlanta, North Carolina. Hi, Mickey Wright. Thank you very much for being in my life. Are just making moves and making everything available to other generations. Like you're making it possible for a young person to be able to dream. You're making it possible for me to still dream. So thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for looking at our first episode with Ralph Ochoa. We're having 2 episodes with Ralph because he has so much to tell us about behind the scenes, servicing the stars. So you do not want to miss our next episode.